Alright friends, welcome to the video. In this video we will learn how to create a page transition animation in React. Here you can see I have created several versions of animation that are simple to build. While they are not very complex, they covers all the fundamental concept needed to create more advanced page transition animation. So let's start. Here is our starting point of our project, and we have some nav links in the top here, and they take us to different pages, green, blue and red. And our goal is to add page transition animation when we change these pages. Okay, so this is very simple design and I didn't want to add any complex design to it, so that we can focus on our goal of learning page transition animation in React. Okay, so let's go to VS Code and review our code that we have so far. I set up the React project and installed React Router DOM to import this browser router. I wrap this app component with this browser router so that I can create some routes inside this app.tsx component. Okay, just a quick note over here. So if you are someone who like to use other method of creating a React router, something like create browser router, then I would suggest you to use this browser router method instead of other method, because it is very easy and simple to set up the page transition animation using this method. So for the sake of the simplicity, just use this browser router method. Okay, so now let's go to this app component. Here in this component I have set up the routes, and this route will take me to this main layout where I have this header section, which is this component, and main purpose of this component is to give us this nav links so that we can navigate through different pages, right? Coming back to this main layout, we have here outlets, and which will be replaced by the other routes elements, right? So those elements are green, red and blue. They are very simple, nothing fancy going on here. I have given them some different colors so that we can see a page transition easily, right? And I use some Tailwind CSS to style it, and if you don't know the Tailwind CSS, just use CSS, no big deal. Okay, now we'll start to animate page transition. Let's go to this app.tsx first. For our animation, we will be using Framer Motion. So next step will be installing the Framer Motion. So open your terminal and write down npm install Framer Motion, right? Once it's done, you can close your terminal, and we're gonna provide some unique keys to these routers, so that the Framer Motion can track the change of the route to run its animation. To give it a unique key, we're gonna use the use location hook from React Router DOM. So come over here and then say const location equals to use location. Okay, and you have to import this use location hook from React Router DOM. Okay, right here. Now we're gonna use this location over here for our key, and we can say location dot path name. Okay, and then we also have to provide the location props over here, and we can say location. If we do not provide this key, then our exit animation will not run, and if we do not provide this location, then our page will be changed before our exit animation can complete. Okay, so it is very important for us to provide this key and location here in this route so that our animation can work. Now here in this component we will import animate presence from Framer Motion. So import animate presence from Framer Motion. Now we will use that animate presence over here, animate presence, and then we have to wrap everything these routes within this animate presence. Okay, now provide the prop mode to it, and the mode will be wait. Okay, and this animate presence makes sure that our exit animation of this our page will run before the other page come to the view. Okay, so that's all this animation presence will do, from that is coming from this framer motion. Now let's save this and let's go to this main layout where we will add our animation. In this component we have to animate this outlet, but this component is mainly here for providing us the layout, right? So I don't want to add all my animation code on these components, so we will just follow the best practice and create a new component where we will write all our animation code, and then we will wrap this outlet with that component. Okay, so let's go and create a new component. To create a new component, go to this component folder and create a new file and give it a name animate. Let's give it a name animate page tsx. Okay, create this component sfc and then name it animate page. Here I will give this a div and provide here children, right? And I will get these children from here, children, and I have to provide props with children, and I am using TypeScript, so I have to do this way. If you are not using TypeScript, you don't need to do this. Okay, so just for getting the children here and save it. Now let's go to this main layout and we have to wrap this outlet with that animate page. Okay, and then let me provide this over here. If I save it and now go back to this animate page, and whatever animation we want, we will just provide it here on this div. To add the animation to this div container, first we have to make this div a motion div. Okay, then we have to import this motion from framer motion like so, and then we can add some animation to it, something like initial equals to, we have to provide object here. Let's add some simple animation to it. So opacity to be 0 at first, and then we can animate same thing. We have to do like opacity to be 1. Okay, and we can also add the exit animation to it by saying exit equals to and providing this opacity over here, and we want opacity to be 0 when the page exit. Okay, so if I save it now, and if we open our project in this Chrome browser and then navigate to different page, then you can see we have some page transition animation, right? So to make it little bit clear, let me add another animation property here. So we can say y, let me give this 50. Maybe I want y here to be 0. I think that is good enough for me, and here y again 50. Okay, so if I save it and go back to the Chrome browser, we can see this y transition animation and the opacity animation taking place, right? So that's all was required to create a page transition animation in React using framer motion. Now I will add a little bit complexity to our animation so that you can get the idea how to create a complex page transition animation in React. Okay, before jumping to the code, let me show you the animation that we want to build. So here is the animation variation that we want to create first. So let's start by opening this animate page.tsx, and inside this motion.div I want to add another div that will be self-closing div. Now add class name to it and give it a style fixed position top 0, left 0, width of full, height of full screen, okay, z index of 50, so it can be on the top of everything, and give it a black background. Okay, now the idea is to animate this div instead of this parent div. Okay, so we can make this div a motion div. Now I can remove all these animation properties from here. Let me give it a initial for now, that we will create it little bit later. And here let me remove it, and we will say this is animate. Remove it here and give it a name exit. Okay, if I save it here now and go to the Chrome browser, then you can see this black div is covering our screen. Okay, now to animate this, let's go to this VS Code, and we can provide the variants on this div. Give it a name transition. Now we have to create this transition over here, so let's say const transition equal to object. Now in this transition we have to provide this initial, animate and exit animation. Okay, so here we can say initial, and initial animation will be with 100%. Okay, similarly now animate will be with 0%. Now I can define exit animation, that will be width of, let's say, 100%. Okay, now if I save it and go to the Chrome browser, you should see some kind of animation. So I am here. If I click the blue, I see some animation, right? But this is not exactly what we wanted, right? Right now this black section looks like one single block element, right? But we want it to be appear in some multi-layer, right? For that we have to go back to our code and make some changes. To create that effect, we need multiple of this div element. Let's say we need 5 layers. Then we need to create a loop that returns this div 5 times. Okay, so let's add that loop over here. We can say here array of 5, and we want it to have a map function for the loop, and I want to get a index out of it and return this div, right? So let me just grab that and let me put it over there, and we are using map, so I have to provide a unique key over here and say layer, and then let me provide the index. Okay, now in total all of this motion div height should be added to 100 dvh. Okay, now I know that we have 5 layers, so each layer should be 20, so 5 times 20 will be 100 dvh. So let me just change this over here and say height to be 20 dvh. Okay, now if I save it and let's check to the Chrome. Now if I change the route, you can see our layer animating, but we can see only one layer right now. That is because we gave every layer the same position, right? Top 0 and left 0. So we need to change this top position according to this index number. Okay, that I want to do by providing this div or style that will have top value like so, and I will say calc, and I know that each layer is 20 dynamic view height, so I will multiply this by our index. Okay, like so. Now what is happening is the first layer will get top 0, and the next time it will get 20 dvh top value, and so on, right? So they will be one above another. Okay, so let's see that in our browser again. If I change the route now, you can see each layer has different top position and they covers all the screen. However, right now they look like one single block of element, right? And that is because the animation on every layer start and end at the same time with the same speed. So to start the animation on the different time, we will add the delay property on this div animation. Okay, that will depend on this index. So to do that, we can come over here and say transition, and then we can provide this delay property, and we will say this delay will be 0.04 and times that depends on index. So we will give this I. So the animation can start on the different time, right? And we can remove this top also from here because we are getting this top value from this style. Okay, now if we save it and go to our browser, we will see some cool page transition animation like that. How cool is that? Now let's tweak our code a little bit and see how easy it is to customize our animation. First, let's change this number of div. Okay, so let me make it 20. So if I change the number of div, I need to change this height. So 20 times 5 makes 100. So I have to give it 5. And if I change the height, I have to change this top position also. So I have to give 5 dvh. Another thing I want to change here is maybe this delay. Let me give it a 0.02 because we have lots of number of div, and we can also remove this, actually this width full, because we are getting width from this our animation, not from this class name. All right, now another thing that I want to do here is maybe change the color of this background. Actually I have here some linear gradient background. Let me just paste it over here. So basically I am giving the background of linear gradient to right, and from this color to this color. Okay, if I save it, you will see we will have the different kind of page transition animation. Okay, so you can easily create a new version of your transition animation just by tweaking a few codes. Right now our layers are horizontally stacked, right? But what if we want to stack it vertically? Meaning right now our animation is running from left to right, but we want to convert it to top to bottom. Okay, and that will be our final version of our page transition animation. To do this, first we need to convert this height to width. Okay, and change this CSS unit also to VW. Now we need to replace this width in our animation with height. Now we can come over here, replace this left also with top, and replace this top with left. Okay, now this unit and this should be same, so we have to just say VW over here. Now other thing will be this linear gradient will not look good on vertical layer. Okay, so let's change this to right to maybe bottom. Okay, now let me change little bit color also, so we can give this black color at the end, and over here let me give some color 4D 48 and maybe 55. Okay, that's all I think I want to do here. Now if I save it and check on our browser, do we have some animation? Yes, so we got the new animation right here, right? That will be vertically layered. So this is how you can create a page transition animation in React, and that's all for today. Thank you.